Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of the F1 Nitro Racing League here on F1 22 for round 3 of the season here in the Australian Grand Prix. Excited for this one here. I didn't know what I was going to have in terms of pace, but I actually was able to get a legitimate qualifying run for the most part in for the first week here. Now, however, I would immediately run into some issues here as we started off our qualifying lap here, and you can see me running a little bit wide in turn 1, and I actually ended up bailing on this lap, which you'll see why in just a second now, as we would make a bit of an error to say the least here now. But it was a pretty rough opening lap here for the Australian Grand Prix weekend here. Got through the chicane relatively well here actually. I was pretty happy with overall my pace in this car, but right here you're going to see the big mistake right there. Just completely overshot the corner, spun it around, so we had to come back into the pit lane, get some new tires, recharge battery, etc. And this was my final and only good attempt here in qualifying, so I didn't push it to the limit because I wanted to make sure I just got a lap in before we take a risk of once again doing what we did on that opening lap and then starting at the back. So things were not looking promising here, but we go through the penultimate corner now, through the final turn, the long stretch down towards the line here now is just 10.5 seconds better, so we'll take that. It's going to put us actually P5, which actually kind of surprised me, to be honest here. I wasn't quite expecting 5th place on a safe lap, I would call it here, so I was pretty happy with that. And we would kick things off for the formation lap. Mahu, he was on pole, and I was expecting him to win. He's very, very quick. But now let's go to the live commentary and settle in for the start here from the Australian Grand Prix for round 3 of the Nitro League.
Got a pretty decent start. Arma went really conservative. I went even more conservative. Oh, they're crashing. Oh,
Wow,
they're dead.
that was close.
That was LCS.
I had contact with Mahu on the start.
Oh, did you get a bad start?
He had a terrible start,
Oh.
but we clipped on the exit of 1. I washed over
Okay.
into him. A little bit of contact with Mahu on the opening start there in turn 1, but fortunately it didn't result in an accident for myself or Mahu as well, so we were able to keep it clean and hold on to P4, but it wouldn't take long for things to get a little bit more spicy here 1 lap later. Oh! Oh!
Oh, there's the yellow flag up ahead. Oh, he's...
What happened?
Caden!
Oh no, what happened?
He spun around right in front of me, just like Tyler.
You're out, I saw you're out.
I'm out.
Well, there you hear Jay was out. So Caden, after he spun, actually turned across the track as Jay was coming through, and Jay had nowhere to go. And unfortunately, well, that resulted in a big crash there, and Jay was out of the race, and so was Caden. We were P3 for the restart here after moving up into Caden's position after that accident here. Now, as we had that slipstream from Mahu now, as we'll go back to live commentary here for this first part of the lap here for this restart.
Yeah. Nice save.
Not P3 anymore.
Sorry. We just plug in the controller. I'm not sitting at the wheel.
Oh! I just got dumped. Who dumped me?
I don't know, actually, because I was looking away.
Don't tell me it was Gale again. It was Gale again. That's the third consecutive week that we've had some form of contact with Gale. Obviously, in the last race, we got run over from behind. I believe he got ran over from behind and then got into me in the beginning moments of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So I had some wing damage, but I decided to tough it out here. And we were once again for the 3rd straight week in a recovery drive. But you can see drivers having issues. We were overall putting up a good pace. I was already back up into towards the top 5. 5 by the time I would decide to come into the pit lane here. And we're putting the hard compound tire on, and then we're going to take this right to the end of this race and hope for no issues. But, you know, frustrating. We've had 3 races so far, and we've had to go now on our 3rd consecutive, like I just said, recovery drive. It's not been an easy start to the season, but we would get on the move here. We would pass Gale Force here down into turn 1, so we take over 9th place, and the drive for getting up towards, I would say, a top 5 starts now here. Now as we are going to have some work to do, but you can see I got up to P7 after the pit cycle was continuing to work itself out here, and then I would run down the Mercedes, and actually my McLaren teammate Stig, he would have a connection issue. He would end up actually losing connection to the session, so he was trying to load back in, so that would allow us to close right up on the back of him and the Mercedes here. But you can see right there his AI really holding up the Mercedes, so I was able to make a pass right there and then get right to the back of the McLaren as we are going to now make a move to the left hand side here. The AI a little bit scary to try and pass here in online, but we do make it happen. Getting a little bit creative, I guess you could say, there with the track limits there to make sure I could complete that pass. But we would move up into P5, and now anything more than that would just be a very, very nice thing to have here. And actually, as we come through to the final 10 laps of this Grand Prix, really just settling in. I was within 5.5 seconds of MJ in front of us in the Ferrari, and we were continuing to close in on him very quickly. However, he would come into the pit lane right here at the end of lap 24, so it made it easy, and I didn't even have to battle him for the position. So we would move up into P4. We come straight through to the final lap where really nothing had been happening. An interesting start, you know, a little bit of contact with Mahu, then we had the moment with the safety car, and then we got dumped, obviously, which was unfortunate. And I'll show you guys actually what happened with Jay, and as well me getting dumped here on the restart in the 3rd person perspective momentarily to get a better idea of what happened. But, you know, overall, I was pretty happy with bringing it home here currently in P4. If you do remember when I got dumped, I actually pulled back across and unfortunately hit Karma in the Alfa Romeo, and he got a bunch of damage, so I was a little bit concerned I was going to get some form of time penalty or something for that. However, I did not get penalized at all, thankfully, so we would be able to hold on to P4 now as we were 14, now 15 seconds ahead of MJ. Mahu, just as predicted, as expected, he would come through to win the Australian Grand Prix, and we're just bringing it home at this point here now into this final sector, setting actually a pretty decent lap on par, or on pace right now to be our fastest lap of the session on the very final lap of the Grand Prix now as we come through the final few corners into that penultimate corner. So, you know, once again, a 3rd consecutive recovery drive, but here we come through the final turn, and it's going to be enough for a top 5 at P4 to be exact. We will absolutely take that crossing the line for that 4th position here in the Australian Grand Prix. We'll take a really quick look here at what happened with Jay. This was on board with Jay, and he had nowhere to go, and Caden had pulled him back across the track, and a massive accident right there. And then finally the onboard with myself as well, getting turned right there by Gale, and you can see that he just simply drove into the back of me. We worked it out again. He just said I think it was something along the lines there wasn't as much stopping power as he expected on the new tires, but nonetheless, I mean, that's gonna wrap it up for us here in the Nitro League once again on F122. If you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Those would all be very, very appreciated, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching one more time, and have a great day, everybody.